What are you doing? Ah! Sorry, we, have something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... So you thought you snoop around. That's acceptable of you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want? I wish to serve you, madam. Please. Please. I will clean and cook for you. You will have warm foods when you get home. And I will say, do you want a dinner, a bath, or me? uh, um, Lawrence Stronghard told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body? Mr. Osmond's body, I mean? So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If Lord Chief Justice has given you consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. Oh my god. Fuck. She needs to step on me now. Holy shit. I'm just saying, if there's anybody that has a trans wife, like, it's her. I'm just saying, like, she is girl husband coded, 100%. Like, trans mask ass motherfucker, I'm just kind of like, I could see her just doing that. I just can, alright? Just kind of breaking my pain a little bit. Dr. Seath, would you be good enough to take a look at this? Oh, you think I'm good enough, do you? No. I didn't mean... So I'm not good enough. In that case, why would you show me to sign anything? You're too good for me to show you anything again. Ever. Give me a girl that looks longingly at elsewhere in her eyes, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm right there. Simping hard, because, oh my god. If there's anything I like more, is trying to get the attention of somebody that does not want to give me attention. Oh, I don't know, you know, telling a bit on myself, but hey, I know what I like. So you want to know what the forensics investigation team determined from its examination of the scene. The victim, Mr. Odie Osmond, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Osmond who appeared moments later, partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. But that can't be right. If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. The two people who looked very similar to each other were involved. They could have made it appear as if a single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true. But sadly, in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who had subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident. Fingerprints? They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British judicial system. But one day, they'll be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my! But that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place! So, where does that leave us? My team is tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is possible? And yet the body didn't move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. Made the whole thing even more mysterious. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you? Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? I never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. A live specimen, as you could very well see. Boring. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Miss Leonardo, you're as pale as a corpse. Mostly before I'm mistaken for one. Oh my god. You can't just do that! Gabe, you can't just have her stand there sexily! So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor? Keeping a close eye on things, so no impudent Easterners think they could look around my office. Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible. Yes, you. Doesn't mince her words, Mrs. Sato. I think perhaps it's time we left. Fair enough. Let's a go-go. Momo. Yeah. The 23rd of October. Local prison. Cell 11. What's he doing? He's... Oh my! The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. And he's still writing more now? Professor? Sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruto! And who is this young lady? My name is Susato Mikatoba. I'm Mr. Naruto's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I won in court this morning. Oh no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clod. Professor Harebrained, why have you been working on in your cell? Oh, you mean that, oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to in hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to suppress super high voltage instantaneous kineticus, maybe? No, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Harebrained. I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kineticus machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth and odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course! I've been working through the numbers! I was fiddled by the pair of them! By Osmond and by the aloof engineer, Debris! We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Okay. Verse or move. So, Debris the engineer. Is he an engineer or a magician? Or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Osmond first brought Debris to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there any more clues you could give us as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine. Nothing else. So, just once. I did visit his workshop. What workshop? At the Bitter's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. What? Why didn't you mention this before? And not Drebber's workshop? There's every chance we meet, we might find the man there. Okay. So you've been to Debber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place, but the room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? You have to go there at once. There's a good chance we'll find Deborah there. But yes, definitely. I'm sure, as in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. Blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even though all he used was very special. A special French machine oil that's impossible to attain in Britain. The indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumes across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. What do you think, Mrs. Sato? In the machine for your next birthday? I never use any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruto. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card from Mr. DeBert, for example? Man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. Oh! Yes, I do! He gave me his business card here once. It's right here. Look! What? Let me see that. Try to get it to the wind, why don't you? Enoch DeBer, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well. I couldn't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Okay. Alright, and then this morning's trial. What about that? Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Osmond, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, that was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the people, the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you're still doing something wrong! Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me in this morning, you know. Barak did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No. Barak wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. He? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. His motivation then? After the terrible incident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Brock, I'm sure the prosecution would declare my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barak insisted I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appeared to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? And then Mr. Osmond? What about him? Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. Well, when I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused and he was so empathetic. In reality, he was just a mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It's a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on a barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. Go through all that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Osmond is no more, of course, which leaves us only the engineer. Mr. Onich Adeber. Okay. Oh, will we present him with things? Present. Ah, fascinating, yes! Japan, where I come from, it's a symbol of the defense lawyer. Wearing is a very bracing, I find. Your words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical. What do you mean? Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat that I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there's a perfectly logical reason for that feeling. Oh, really? What is it? I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one is too small for me. The sleeves, especially, are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists. That's what you call logical, is it? Of course! It's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruto. Okay. Sure, but either way, he should know about this, at least. Present. What do you make of this? No. Oh. Dang it. So that was not it. I do feel like if we're able to present it with something, he does have something to say. So I'm trying to figure out what we could do. Maybe this? No, not that either. Those are all new evidences. So I don't think we're gonna get anything else out of this. So let's move. We went everywhere, right? Yeah, everywhere except for Bound to Spells. To check up again. No. Where to next? Shlome's residence, maybe? No? Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out where this is at. What to do next, then? Do you know, I honestly thought I might never have the opportunity to return to Great Britain, but certainly not so soon. It's funny, for the past 6 months, I've been able to work in court. Meanwhile, you've been raising a storm in the Supreme Court of Judiciary back in Japan. Please, Mr. Naruto, I may have been dressed as a man, but it was a very reserved performance. What your father said in his letter about, a Roitaro takedown is reserved? Well, anyway, I'm back here in this great capital now, and ready to assist you again, in any way I can. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. It's my pleasure, Mr. Naruto. Huh. That gave me nothing. I was expecting something. Experimentation stage, maybe? Examine here? Okay, yeah. You're to bump it, yeah. So it's not here. I guess we do want to talk to him? The only other place is the forensic laboratory. And she don't want to talk to us. So it's not bound to spells. Guess everything we need to Mr. Naruto? Oh. Pull it down here, doesn't it? Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and present this to Gina. Maybe to her? Okay, so it's not that one. We clearly have to find one of them. No? So not that, maybe this? I didn't think that we would, like, get her with anything, but clearly we're missing, like, something if Nato-san is saying that we missed something. Examine... Sure. No! Arg. Oh, new thing? What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exposition has been damaged like that. Yes, unfortunately the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. The gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam, and not cut corners of instantaneous kineticus. But imagine what might happen if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time birdcages will rain down on all of you. Your faith is much stronger than I realized. Well, how do you think I'd pass the entrance exam of Human University? It wasn't by studying alone. I believe that. Back up there. That was new dialogue, but I don't, like, oh. Oh look, a flying balloon! I've never seen one in the flesh before. I can't understand how they could fly. It's so high up as well. But think of the view, Mr. Naruto. You must be able to see for miles and miles. You think of it, and it terrifies me. I mean, it would be certain death if he fell out. I'm sure they're perfectly safe, after all. They've been invented by some of the brightest minds in the world. Let's not forget that we know at least one has exploded. I'm sure there are other ways to fly. Okay. So, around some more. Got. I don't think there's anything else here. So, we've asked everything that we need to. I don't know what else to do. Maybe... Nope. Nope. What would she have? The business card! The business card could be linked towards, like, sniffing out. No? Okay. But she has the dog. She has a little R for her.